And a very warm welcome here this morning to the Barony Hall for what will be a joyful celebration of the fantastic achievements of our graduates. A very warm welcome to the family, the friends and the supporters too. It might be, to use a Glasgow term, a bit dreich outside, but I think we'll make up for that through the warmth and celebration that we're going to go through over the next 40 minutes or so. And of course, this is our first graduation ceremony proper, this series of graduations for 2 years, for obvious reasons. Those of you that are about to graduate today, I'm sure that you'll particularly enjoy the celebration, because I've not quite been able to do the same for over 8,000 students over the past 18 months or so. So the first quarter to the second quarter of next year, we're going to catch up all those wonderful Strathclyde graduates who have celebrated just as you will celebrate this morning. Of course, we're observing appropriate COVID social distancing and what have you. I have before me the kneeler. We don't use it any longer, but I've got to say, I knelt on this kneeler in 1978 when I got a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering. Then I knelt on it again in 1984 for my Master's degree when I was working in industry. And then I knelt on it again in 1990, so it's quite a familiar bit of furniture for me. But when you come on here to graduate, I will cap you, or at least I'll put the cap above your head, which will signify that you are therefore now a graduate of the University of Strathclyde. You're currently graduands, but you're going to magically be transformed into graduates over the course of this morning's ceremony. Please don't kneel on this. This is to give us just an appropriate distance to keep you and I safe as we go through the ceremony. So with that, colleagues, I'm delighted to have you here. I'm delighted that my colleagues are here from the Faculty of Science. Debbie, you'll be doing the announcements this morning, and we will go on with that. Then I'll have the opportunity to give you an update on what's going on in the university. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, I will now declare that this graduation ceremony is formally open, and I'll invite Professor Debbie Willison, who's one of our Vice Deans and a very accomplished academic in the Pure and Applied Chemistry Department, to welcome all of you and read out the names as I graduate you. So welcome and thanks for being here.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Department of Pure and Applied Chemistry, Emma Louise O'Connor. Callum Yeardley. For research in the Department of Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Rajab Abdul Salam Mohammed Atreka. Michael Krubasic. Josephine Hull Duncan Lure. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with an integrated study in Pure and Applied Chemistry, Iona Elizabeth Hill. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Biochemistry, Mariam Saad D. Al-Taibi. Alan McLaughlin McAteer. Apelua Elizabeth Abiola Oladell. Sarah N.M.A. Shamalsdeen. Manal Sogiavala. In Advanced Clinical Pharmacy Practice with Practice Certificate in Independent Prescribing, Sadia Naim. In Advanced Drug Delivery, Suha Hamdi Hassan Ahmed. Alexia Bartkowiak. Amy Charlotte Carnegie. Salma Osama Abdel Hakim Ahmed Elimam. Ebony Charlotte Woodland. In advanced immunology, Megan Ruth Manuel. In advanced pharmaceutical manufacturing, Connor Thomas Clark. Yi Wei Shi. Safina Ludovic Kabeland. Yenshi Kinko Renada. Basiliki Kontomina. Aileen Lowe. Faisal Abdul Qadir Mefta. Suwanan Namklang. In advanced pharmacology, Camille Collins. Catherine Isabel Ruth Gibson. Erica Rachel McCormack. Mutu Priya Pandarasivan. Humaira Parveen. In biomedical sciences, Fraser William Black. Fatima Dawood. Maria Stamataki. In cancer therapies, Khadija Aake Al-Shamali. Amy Bryson. Amy Elizabeth McEwen. Rachel Louise Penny. Celia Rodriguez Rodriguez. Emma Laura Schofield. Janetta Urbanchik. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Gavin Turzo. In Forensic and Analytical Chemistry, Michael Dominic Fallon. In Immunology and Pharmacology, Amanda Victoria Swan. Tatenda Wayne Chiriseri. In Biological Sciences, Tanya Maria Hannele Tinkinen.
was quick. You want one, Billy? Well done. I'll need to get a smile printed on my mask. I was smiling throughout behind that mask. You can't quite, hopefully it transmitted through my eyes. So well done to all of you. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give this fantastic group of people a big round of applause collectively. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Strathclyde graduates, let me reiterate our warm welcome to this wonderful ceremony. A day that none of you will forget, nor should you. It marks the successful conclusion of years of hard work, and now you've graduated in front of your proud families, your friends, and your supporters. And today we welcome visitors from all parts of Scotland, from across the UK, and of course from a wonderful international community too. We're delighted to see all of you and being here to join in our celebrations. Strathclyde University, your university, is an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We're a place that seeks to be both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural, and social backgrounds come together to enjoy excellent education and a shared student experience. And at Strathclyde, we all benefit from having staff and students from over 100 countries. Ours is a socially progressive community, one that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society. We're plural, we're multicultural, and we seek to be enlightened. It's our responsibility, it's your responsibility to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power, by using reason and by exemplifying the best features of modern society. But of course, most importantly, we're here today to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion of your degree course. And of course, your degrees today will be the passport to making a full contribution to your career and to society, in spite of the current flux that we still face. Today, we're celebrating, as I mentioned earlier, our first set of in-person graduation ceremonies since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, which has had far-reaching and unprecedented impacts in all of our lives, in society, in families, on health, and the dynamics of us getting about our daily activities. It's challenged our health systems, it's impacted on our economies, and it's changed the way in which we work and study. Of course, many of the things that we've been forced to do, we'll actually look at the things that we've learned well, and we'll take that forward into our academic activities. Of course, making sure that we take advantage of being on campus again, but doing that in an informed way based on what we've learned over the past 18 months. But we've also demonstrated, looking at the positives, what society can achieve when we work together. And it's placed science at the very forefront of finding the solutions to the challenges we face. It was science and universities and innovative industries that delivered vaccines for the COVID-19 virus in record time. And it is science, engineering, technology, and education that will help us address other pressing issues, not least climate change. And as you well know, earlier this month, we had the privilege of hosting COP26 in this wonderful city of Glasgow, where it was a summit of world leaders which came together to agree measures to minimise global warming and climate change. And of course, there's always criticism that swirls around these events. I had the privilege of spending most of the past 2 weeks in the Blue Zone, engaging with our colleagues from the political community across the globe, with academics, with industries, and whilst we see some criticism about maybe not enough action has come through it, there's a plan developing, and as an engineer myself, you can't get started without a plan and a commitment. And when we come back together in a year's time, let's see how many of these commitments have added up to make a difference. But no doubt Strathclyde was doing much around COP26 in the heart of discussions, and in many, many peripheral events where we brought together international experts, policymakers, investors. Strathclyde has been seen as an important catalyst for much of what's happening here in Scotland and across the UK related to COP26. And of course, last week you may have noticed that we had the privilege of having ex-President Obama on campus. He spent over 2 hours with us last Monday evening, engaging with the young people, talking about those that are part of the Obama Foundation. But as he left our Learning and Teaching building, he gave one strong and energising encouragement, and he said, "Get active," to a round of applause and great cheers from the students and others that had gathered there. And I would say that to all of you, you professionals, across the activities that we're celebrating today. Get active in your career, get active in making your contribution to society, and make sure that you make a difference. This university's motto is useful learning. What I hope you take out of the hall today is the fact that you're not only useful, but you're inspiring. You're the next generation of leaders, which hopefully will unpack some of the challenges that my generation have left you to deal with. But do that with energy, do it with integrity, and do it with a sense of enjoyment, because all of you inspirationally can make a difference to those that you work with. And referring to how we do this, appropriately enough, Thomas Edison, a famous American inventor and an electrical engineer, I should say, said that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. I'm sure your own efforts were a little bit better than that. And I recognise the principles of what Edison was talking about. I was brought up here in Glasgow in a sunny hamlet called Govan, that some of you might know about. And Govan's motto is nihil sine labore, which means nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace those principles every day when I come in here to the university. I would recommend to all of you that you take that approach into your future careers. Today, you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of our torchbearers, just like the many generations of graduates before you. And with all that you've now successfully come through, I'm sure that you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the backing and encouragement of the community of supporters around you. It's fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates and the university at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. So today's graduates before me and the university staff alongside me would like to take this opportunity to thank your families, friends and supporters for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. And for our academic staff too, this is a very important day because your success is their reward. Strathclyde has worked hard to provide you with high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, graduates, families, please join with me now in thanking our staff for all that they've done to support you in your journey today. Thank you. So as you leave today, it's important that you think a little bit about your institution. We were founded in 1796, so we're 225 years old this year. I like to still think of us as a 200-year-old startup, retaining that same sense of excitement and purpose from the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. We were the only higher education institution established in Scotland during the time of the Enlightenment, a time of real change, fervour, challenge. And that's a real distinction for Strathclyde, and we're now driving forward our mission, our latest strategy, Vision 2025, driving forward in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, a natural philosopher or physicist, Professor John Anderson, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, that I'm sure you've heard of. He was an American inventor and academic, and Franklin was also one of the founders of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, and that was established under the motto of useful knowledge. And Anderson and Franklin spoke a lot, and that inspiration brought forward the principles of useful learning. And our motto, known by all of our staff and students, and please don't forget that as you go forward, still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university that is committed to being socially progressive, touch people's lives, improve people's opportunities. And for example, across our campus and in the buildings that you will have passed today on your way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight diseases. For example, we have drugs on clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory diseases. Strathclydeers are also producing energy technologies and energy policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We're revolutionising global manufacturing and helping to create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0, on robotics, AI, automation. We've got a wonderful capability driven out of the Strathclyde Institute for Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences and Manufacturing, from the nanoscale to the macro scale, working with industry, not least of which the pharmaceutical companies. Our students continue their work in Africa, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure. Students are bringing prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need in India, and we're working to inform public policy on national economic strategy, education, health, energy, and innovation. And our colleagues in the Technology and Innovation Centre down on George Street that's a £100 million investment in total, working with industry on energy, photonics, bio-nanosystems, and again, in pharmaceuticals. I mentioned Thomas Edison earlier. He used to call his technical teams and laboratories his inventions factory. Well, TIC, as we call it, is our innovations factory. And we've reinforced Strathclyde's leadership by creating Scotland's first innovation district down in that part of the city, right in the heart of Glasgow, working with the Glasgow City Council, the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce, Scottish Enterprise and Entrepreneurial Scotland. This is called the Glasgow City Innovation District, now moving forward for another £150 million investment, bringing to life that whole east side of the city centre, working in medtech, fintech, quantum technology, industrial informatics, 5G communications and space technology. Outside California, Glasgow has the biggest satellite manufacturing capability in the world. We don't celebrate that loud enough, but we shall, and GCID will be part of that amplifier. And through useful learning, we also offer business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative and to promote economic growth. That helps create jobs and provide us all with a better quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, we provide people with the opportunity to transform their lives and the lives of their families through education. As I mentioned earlier, we still attract many first-generation university students to Strathclyde. I was the first in my family to go to university here at Strathclyde. It transformed my opportunities and it gave inspiration to those that I was brought up with in the schools in and around Govan. These are some of the reasons why we've had a terrific sequence of independent recognition of what we do and how we do it. In recent years, we've been recognised at the annual UK Times Higher Education Awards, if you like the academic Oscars, which has included the award of the UK University of the Year twice in the past 8 or 9 years, the only university in the UK to have won that twice, the Entrepreneurial University of the Year, the Business School of the Year. We've been also the Herald's Higher Education Institution of the Year, and Sunday Times Scottish University of the Year, and very importantly, the Higher Education Workplace of the Year. And that talks not just about what we're achieving, but how we collaborate and operate as an organisation. So Strathclyde continues to demonstrate the ability to have a disproportionate impact, principally through all of you. Our biggest impact in society are the wonderful people that we educate, the people that inspire us and the people that we then send out into the world to make a difference. You are excellent graduates and postgraduates, but we also have an outstanding research portfolio. And we also have very effective ways in which we create value and impact by translating our knowledge to the benefit of society for industry and our government and public sector partners. We're a driver for sustainable economic growth, and Strathclyde has a distinct role in this key national objective. So universities have to be seen as an investment, not a cost to society. And while Scottish Government invests about £1.2 billion a year in higher education, the sector delivers back in excess of £10 billion into the Scottish economy. And certainly the achievements of my colleagues from the Faculty of Science throughout the past year gives me great confidence for the future. As I mentioned, our colleagues have been very active throughout COP26, observing in the Blue Zone, participating in events, giving views on policy and technology. And we're also leading the way in health research, notably through our university-wide Health and Care Futures initiative. Colleagues such as Professor Yvonne Perry, who's here, Director of SIBS, directly involved in the work around the Vaccines Task Force, advising on how that might be done. Other colleagues across the campus, part of SAGE, which you heard more about, and you probably didn't know it existed, around the Strategic Advisory Group for Emergencies, working on ventilation and the understanding of the epidemiological aspects of the growth of the infection. And that's, of course, understandably the way in which we work. Connect, communicate, be respectful, and take seriously our motto of useful learning. Let's make a difference in all of that. So that's the exciting context within which you should view your awards. You're now graduates of a great university that places our students at the heart of all that we do. We value excellence in education and research, and we create strong connections with society at large, as well as with the business world. And we talked about collaboration. We are an international organisation. We have many deep relationships across the globe. And in the United States, for example, we have deep, long-standing relationships with Stanford University, a world top 10, with New York University and MIT. MIT typically number 1 or 2 in the world in any given year, and a strong partnership with the University of Southern California and Waterloo in Canada. And of course, the other side of the globe in China, deep relationships with the University of Peking and Tsinghua, number 1 and 2 in China, and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, a kindred spirit to Strathclyde, where we're working on technological and scientific solutions for health, for energy, and for manufacturing. And a raft of strong partnerships, not only in the UK, of course, but across Europe, which is even more important post-Brexit. Strathclyde continues to inspire by showing what collaboration is all about. But as I move to a conclusion, our students benefit directly from being part of an international, inclusive university. It helps all of you emerge with the skills necessary for yourselves and for Scotland to play a full part in the world. And you've been exposed to the richness and value of different cultures and traditions. But most importantly, to my graduates, you leave here understanding your obligations as global citizens. And with regard to our socially progressive mission, we remain the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening participation in our programmes from students from some of the most challenged communities in Scotland, communities that I recognise. Almost 1,300 have joined us this year, within which over 500 come from the most challenged areas of society. And in the same period, we've moved to be the joint 4th highest entrance requirements in the UK. And of course, that dismisses the notion that standards are adversely affected through strategic commitment to widening access. So if I characterise Strathclyde University in 2021, I would describe us as having ambition, focus and momentum, and we continue to be agile and committed to the delivery of our strategy, so necessary to absorb the continuing challenges in the sector and, of course, the political uncertainties that we still face. It's a privilege for me to lead this great institution with the superb support I've got from my executive team and all of my academic colleagues. And I believe strongly that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise what we are doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. Strathclyde now seeks in our modern society to be an agent for positive change here in Glasgow, in Scotland, the UK and in the world stage. And to all of you in the Barony Hall, I'm certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact in society. 2021 can truly become a vintage year. You've shown resilience, maturity, and we're really proud of you. So with that in mind, and as you leave the hall today, you'll leave not just with an award, but with a responsibility. As today's graduates, you're now joining an alumni community numbering almost 200,000 individuals, Strathclyders out there in the world. But please remember, whatever you do with your degree and wherever you pursue your career, useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others, make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities you belong to, respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These are the characteristic core values of your university. And finally, to today's celebration, we're all here to mark the fantastic achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees, On behalf of the university, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to you all and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch and let us know about your progress. Well done, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. So, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, we'll conclude momentarily. We are going to process. The stage party will come down the side of the hall. You'll hear the piper striking up anytime soon, I believe. And we're going to have a reception over at the new Learning and Teaching building where Barak was last Monday night. So come along and join us and let us show you the same hospitality as we did for him. The stage party will lead on. Please follow us, and I look forward to speaking to a number of you when we go over there. So, colleagues, if you'd be upstanding, I will now declare this celebration formally closed. Thank you very much. Well done. Mask.